Now, 20 years after the comedy Little Britain first graced our screens, the show is set to return this Christmas.
Well, episodes will air on That's TV. What is That's TV?
I've never seen it.
I have never heard of That's TV.
But there's too many channels for me to watch these days.
Yeah, anyway. But we hear that the more controversial characters will not be returning.
So this morning, we are asking if it is right to edit out characters to avoid offending. Have we become too woke for comedy deemed acceptable just a decade or so ago?
Well, comedian Josh Howie thinks so and says we should lighten up. Journalist Yvette Cooper says Little Britain is racist, is fatphobic and shouldn't make a comeback. Have I got that about right, guys? Is that the way, Yvette, you would describe it?
Well, my name's Yvette Castor, sure. Not Cooper. But yeah, I mean, this is the comeback nobody asked for. It's 20 years ago since Little Britain aired. I think it's really bizarre that this is on anybody's sort of radar. There's so many other sort of new up-and-coming comedians that the money could go towards. Why are we kind of harking back to something that was around 20 years ago? It just seems bizarre to me.
Well, Yvette, it was hugely successful at the time. Yes, it's controversial, but many people would say comedy has to be controversial. It dances on the edge, if you like.
Well, no. If you go back and look at some of the episodes, I mean, I remember at the time it was huge and it was so popular and everyone was sort of saying a lot of the phrases, and that's fair enough. But if you look at some of the other sketches, some of the sketches within it and some of the characters, the use of blackface, the fact that lots of it was very misogynistic, they make fun of a woman who's mentally ill. It's sort of a series of grotesque characters, which obviously is part of comedy. But like I said, I really think it just belongs in the past. If the people that are making this have got this chunk of money to do a comedy series or a comedy special, why not put it towards, other brilliant sort of up-and-coming comedians or slightly lesser-known ones like Michaela Cole or Babatunde Aleshe, or, I mean, the list goes on, Leila Navabi, Bridget Christie's now got a fantastic sort of series on 4 about the menopause. So why would you go back to these characters? I mean, Williams and Lucas have moved on, haven't they, anyway? So why are they wanting to revisit these?
Josh, what do you make of Yvette's points there? She thinks it's time to move on. We shouldn't be treated to Little Britain anymore on our screens.
Well, I imagine why they want to do it is to make some money. But it has been 20 years. Yes, some of them have dated, some of those sketches, but also some of them are still very funny. And the whole point of Little Britain was to sort of have this sort of grotesque mirror up to society. It did that. People laughed. Let's not forget that, and people still do laugh at many of the sketches. They do live on in a way. I'm curious to see how they're going to update Little Britain for today, because to sort of it's interesting that all of those names that were just presented, Yvette just gave, not one of them was a man or a white person, a white man. I mean, that like we're talking about investing in modern comedy. Unfortunately, standard of modern comedy. Is there any of those people or any shows like that have had that kind of cultural impact?
What about her point that, there's the use of blackface? There were sketches in it that many would say was racist, prejudicial. We had the Thai bride, Ting Tong. There was a black woman, Desiree De Vere. They should be removed, should they not? Because they do cause a huge amount of offence.
Yeah, I think some of them probably did cross the line, and some of the best comedy crosses the line. That's what it does. I mean, let's not forget this was of a time. They're not. So let's see what they do now. Let's see how they update it. I mean, it could be that the most dangerous thing to put on TV in 2023 is 2 white guys.
Mm-hmm. OK. Well, guys, from two white guys there, we'll say goodbye to Yvette. And Josh, thank you for that. That's TV over Christmas. So I was just going to say, what's it called? Little Britain.
Little Britain.
So you've seen... I've never seen an episode.
I haven't
of it.
watched it for years, but 20 years ago, when it was at its height, it was very funny. But I can see the point of removing some of the sketches, because I think nowadays they are offensive, they don't stand the test of time. But I am a little bit uncomfortable with, if you take that approach, then there's tons of shows you would take off the telly.